Hello, Assalamualaikum everyone. Today we are presenting about the donor selection. First of all, let us get to know the group members. Shifa will be talking about the types of donation in Islamic perspective. Ili will present about the criteria of blood and organ donor. Shahida will be talking on types of donor, and Laila will tell you about the current issues.
Let's start this topic by knowing what is the type of donation. Type of donation are organ and blood donation. According to Ministry of Health Malaysia, organ or tissue donation is the process of donating organs or tissues of the body for the purpose of transplantation into others in need because of failure or damage to an organ or tissues of the recipient. Blood donation is a procedure that involves a voluntary donor to donate their blood for transfusion to help people who are ill or injured or who need blood for other reasons.
Proceed to the second part, which is criteria of donors. Criteria of donors in blood donation. First, donors must be in a good health condition. Second, the weight of donor must 45 kg and above. Third, the donors must have minimum of 5 hours sleep. Next, the donors must have meal before the donation. Then, the donor must have no medical illness and the last donor was 3 months ago. Criteria for organ donation. First, the donor must be in good physical and mental health. Second, the donor at least 18 years old. Third, the donor must be willing to donate. No one should feel that they must donate. And the last one, the donor must well informed. A good donor candidate has a solid grasp of the risks, benefits, and potential outcomes, both good and bad, for both the donor and recipient.
Next, we move on to the types of donor. So, there are two types of donor, which are blood donor and organ donor. For blood donor, it can be classified into 4 categories. Number 1 is whole blood donor. So this is the most adaptable donation. It can be transfused in its natural form or utilized to treat numerous patients after being separated into its unique components of red cells, plasma, and platelets. Number 2 is red blood cell donor. Donation of the concentrated dosage of red cells, which are the component of the blood that is utilized every day for individuals who require transfusions as part of their treatment. So this type of donation uses an automated process that separates the blood cells from other blood components and then safely and comfortably returns the plasma and platelets to the donor. Okay. So number 3 is the platelet donor. So these platelets are most often used by cancer patients and others facing life-threatening illnesses and injuries. In platelet donation, an apheresis machine collects the platelets along with some plasma, returning your red cells and most of the plasma back to the donor. A single donation of platelets can yield several transfusible units, whereas it takes about 5 whole blood donations to make up one single transfusible unit of platelets. Lastly is the plasma donor. Plasma is collected through an automated process that separates plasma from other blood components and then safely and comfortably returns the red blood cells and platelets to the donor. Let's move on to the second type of donor, which is organ donor. So this organ donor can be classified into 2 categories, which is living donor and deceased donor or cadaveric donor. So for living donor, only part of their liver or one of their kidney is allowed to be donated. Organ donors are typically family members or spouses, and the organ donation from a live donor requires careful planning. organ donation from living donors is also an important source of organs given the shortage of organs from cadaveric donors. Next, for cadaveric donor, the organ is removed following the death of the donor, and it must have consent of the deceased family members for organ donation. A deceased person's kidneys, liver, heart, lungs, and even tissues like the cornea, which is at the eyes, skin, heart, valves, and bones can be donated. So you might be questioning, can your organ be taken without your consent? The answer is no. Your family will always be involved before donation takes place. So it is really important that you choose whether you want to be a donor and discuss what you want to happen with your family. So your decision is clear and they can have peace of mind knowing that your decision is being honored. Also, your faith and beliefs will also always be taken into consideration before organ donation goes ahead.
Okay, next, I will tell about the current issues regarding blood donation. As you all know, the COVID-19 pandemic continues to have a huge impact on the Malaysian healthcare system, including organ and blood donation. As retrieved from National Blood Centre, the statistic of blood donation shows a significant drop for 40%. In March 2019, the donated blood collected is 20,003 bags. Then, a year later, in March 2020, during the outbreaks, the bags collected is only 12 and 86,000 of blood. This is because people are staying at home to avoid themselves from being infected. Ethically, the government has provided proper screening for the volunteer who wants to donate their blood during the pandemic. The healthcare will provide a form to be filled by the volunteers, just to making sure that only the healthy person can donate their blood. The person must not having a fever and symptom of COVID-19. The family must be healthy and no respiratory symptom, not a close contact of COVID-19 patient, no travel record, and the volunteers should have negative result or they are recovered from COVID-19. Therefore, there are some techniques and technologies that we'll be using to screen the blood and the organ that are donated. First is NAT, nucleic acid testing. It is used to detect the viral DNA in the blood by using a molecular technique. It used to avoid TTI such as HBV, HCV, or HIV. Next is thoracic computed tomography that is used for deceased donor programs. Lastly is PCR that is also used on deceased donor where lower respiratory samples from the donor is collected to be tested in PCR.
Now we move on to the last part of this video, which is donor selection from Islamic perspective. Basically, organ and blood donation is permissible in Islam based on ijtihad as it fulfills the requirement in the preservation of human life, which is one of the 5 objectives in Maqasid Sharia. Besides, it is aimed to help each other regardless of religion, race, status, and wealth. Islam also encourages its followers to help each other as stated in Al-Ma'idah verse 2. The permissible is based on 3 legal maxims which are harm is eliminated, hardship budget facility, which means Islamic law permits one who is in an urgent situation to do the unlawful in order to eliminate the harm he faced under the condition that there are no other lawful options available and choosing the lesser of 2 harm. The permissibility of donating is bound to the following condition, which mean to protect all interests according to Islamic law. Live donors are not inflicted with harm such as death or disabilities such as loss of hearing, sight, and mobility. Transplantation is performed with the permission from the donors. Third, the permission is obtained from donors who are legally able to do so. As such, permission cannot be given by children, mentally incompetent people, or individuals who are confused. Fourth, it not conducted in ways that could violate human dignity such as organ trading. And the most important point in donor selection is doctors involved in the donation has sufficient knowledge to assess the donors and recipients' condition based on the principle of benefit and harms according to Islamic law. In conclusion, donor selection is important in transfusion science as it is assess the suitability of an individual to be a donor so that the donation is safe for the donor and recipient. With that, that's all from us. Thank you.